Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel and this is the Lawn Care Life. I'm gonna do what I hope is the final leaf cleanup of the year on this property. And what I wanna do is, while I'm doing the leaf cleanup, let you watch me blow the leaves, but I wanna talk about the process of leaf cleanup, give you some options, give you some tips, give you some ideas on how to price it and how to go about it if you're a homeowner, if you're in the lawn care business, whatever. So anyway, I'm blowing leaves today with the big Echo 770 blower. It's a good blower. You know, a lot of people get hung up on the type blowers they like. A lot of them make good blowers. Husqvarna, Red Max, Echo, and Steel. You know, there's others probably, but those are all good blowers. For what it's worth, I like the Red Max. That was what I typically use in my lawnmower when I was mowing lawns, doing that a lot for my business. So anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna blow the leaves and give you some discussion while we do it. All right, I want to talk about some of the ways that you can go about pricing your leaf cleanup or leaf removal, whatever you want to call it. I'll give you the easiest way that I know to do it, and then talk about some more complicated ways if you're a more complicated kind of person. And also talk to you about some of the strategies you can use to clean up leaves, because I know I've done it different ways, and some ways take a lot longer than other ways. And of course, you need to price accordingly if you're doing this for your business. So as far as the easiest way, and let me clarify, I'm in Alabama, so we mow grass typically from like March through October here, and then in November the leaves start falling, more so, you know, pretty heavy in November and December on up until around Christmas time. There's a few trees that still be dropping leaves in January, and some of the lawn care businesses here, they will actually put people on 12-month contracts and be providing some sort of lawn service year-round. Now, the grass doesn't technically need cut in January, and there's pretty much no leaves, so they might at that point be installing mulch or pruning crepe myrtles or something like that. But point being, for leaf cleanup, to me, the easiest way to go about pricing it is just to keep people on the same schedule that you've had them on, and you can bundle it all together in the price. So if you're doing like a 12-month contract, and I'm not suggesting you do that, but if you're already doing that, and you just figure, look, I'm coming to mow the grass weekly during the summer, and then maybe by October that slows down to bi-weekly, and in November you just keep that going, doing bi-weekly leaf cleanup, or even weekly if they'll let you, and then you factor that into the price. Because if you're doing a leaf cleanup job weekly or bi-weekly on the same property that you've been working on all year round, it's not really that big a deal. You're not going to have a ton of leaves fall unless there's some kind of huge storm in a week or 2-week period. The ones that are huge and can be a trouble is when you have a customer that wants to wait until they've all fallen, or you just have that one-time leaf cleanup where it is piles and piles and piles of leaves. Now, obviously, that would need to be priced differently than somebody who's letting you come every week or every 2 weeks and just run over the lawn with a bag and mower and suck them up, or mulch them, or blow them, or however you want to go about doing it. So, you know, that's just my thoughts as far as the easiest way to go about it. Now, you might not want the easiest way, because if you got somebody that wants to wait till they're all falling down, or a one-time deal, maybe that's an opportunity to make a lot of money off of it. But you got to get a little bit of experience in a couple things when it comes to pricing. One, let's say you're going to go the first strategy there and price it, year-round, and you kind of include the leaf cleanup pricing. Well, you may be giving them a price in March, and you look at the trees, and you got to kind of pay attention and estimate how many leaves there's going to be in this yard. Because if they've got a little 10-foot maple tree in their front yard, and that's the only tree in the yard, then that's no big deal. It's going to drop its leaves, and I mean, you can go out there and pick them up by hand almost in 10 minutes. You know, so that's no big deal. But if you look around and there are large oak trees, even if they're on the border of the property, they're not necessarily in the yard, but they're bordering the property, those leaves are going to come down in the yard, and you got to be able to kind of foresee what it's going to look like in the fall. Maybe that takes some experience. But some of these yards have some serious leaves. And so again, you got to calculate that. And if you got a yard like that, then maybe even coming every 2 weeks, it's still going to be more work than it would be if you were just mowing the lawn. But, you know, so you might have to add a little bit of extra money in there for that leaf cleanup. But if it's just a few trees, I mean, you still want to clean the leaves up, but it's really not any more work, because oftentimes by October and November, you know, here in our area, we're not really doing much edging or string trimming and that sort. You know, that's sort of done. The grass is not really growing. You basically run over the yard just to suck up the leaves. Now, as far as the strategy going to actually clean up the leaves, what do you need to do with that? Well, you see in the video, I'm out here blowing leaves. Now, this is not my preferred strategy, though I see a lot of people do that. To me, if you're doing it as a business, the most complete, thorough way to do it that I've seen and I used in my own business was if I had a bagging mower and a mulching mower, like I had a ride-on bagging mower and a you know 52 or 60-inch mulching mower, 48-inch mulching mower, and I had people working with me and things like that. Then what we would do, you might start with one person on the blower. Let's say you got 3 people. One person's got a blower, backpack blower, and this is where oftentimes I use like a mid-sized blower in my lawn business to just blow leaves off the driveway. In this situation, a big blower makes a difference. So you got the blower, and he's just basically blowing everything out of the flower beds, away from the fence lines where you can get to it with the mower. Then you got one person on the mulching mower, and if that's all you got, it's a mulching mower, that's fine, okay? But you're mulching it, and you're mulching the leaves, and as you do so, you're keeping the leaves pushed to the inside so that you can, in a way, run over them multiple times and re-mulch it and re-mulch it and re-mulch it. And then when you do that, you don't have to do it to the inside. I mean, you can do it to the outside, and if you're going to come back and clean it up. Now, if all you got is the mulching mower, I would keep it on the inside where you can keep re-mulching it and leave as little debris as possible. And then you may have to sort of disperse that debris with the blower when you're done. But if you got a bagging mower, and this was a strategy we did sometimes, you got one guy blowing, another guy on the mulching mower, and he's just mulching it up, and then somebody on the bagging mower coming behind them, sucking up the clippings after they've been mulched. Now, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just suck them up on the front end? Well, the reason is it takes a lot longer to just bag them before you mulch them. It's way more leaves. I mean, I'm thinking like 5 times more leaves because mulching them up makes a huge difference. Now, the other hot tip, and this is somewhat common sense, but especially if you've got heavy leaves, to wait after it has not rained for a few days. So if you've got that one-time customer and they call you the day after a storm, there's tons of leaves, you just tell them, hey, we're going to need a few dry days to let this dry out, because even if it's been dry, you know, sometimes they've got piles of leaves, there's just moisture trapped down in there, and it is just a real pain whether you're mulching, blowing, bagging. It's all more difficult if it's wet leaves, and it's just nasty. Okay, so if you got dry leaves, it goes a lot smoother. Now, if there's not many leaves in the yard, you know, wet, dry, whatever, you can handle a few leaves if they're wet. But in general, I would say leaf cleanup is typically more work, even if you do it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. You know, again, you're not doing the trimming edge and things like that typically, but it can be a little bit more of a job. But that, to me, is, you know, if you keep them on that regular schedule, the pricing, you can even actually charge the same price because the additional work is minimal. Now, that's if they have, you know, not that many trees. But if there's tons of trees, obviously you're going to need to adjust the price accordingly. Now, in my opinion, the just straight blowing leaves strategy, like I'm demonstrating in the video, is the reason I did that in this video. I'm helping out a relative, and we actually didn't have a mower on the property, so we're just out there blowing leaves. And you know, we have somewhere to blow them. Like if you've got a tree line or something like that, and you do in your own yard or whatever, you can just blow them to the tree line and let them. But sometimes, you know, you got to understand the customers, and some customers are not going to be okay with that, so they're going to want them actually removed. And blowing is one of the slowest ways to do it, in my opinion, unless you've got some kind of giant blower that can handle it. If you've got to physically dispose of the leaves and get rid of them, then that's going to need to be an added expense as well. So if you've got to actually bag them up and haul the bags off, or if you've got some kind of vacuum truck, then that's a problem. Now, the cities where I've lived, the actual city or the garbage service has taken care of that for us. So whether you bagged it and put it out on the curb, they would come by once a week and take it up. Or the current city I live in now, the city has a big vacuum truck that runs in the fall through the early spring. And so you just get them out to the curb. They don't have to be bagged, and the big vacuum truck comes out there and sucks them up. That's I guess our taxes pay for it, but the homeowner, you don't have to pay any extra for that. So that's a great benefit and can affect that. But you need to know that before you price it, because if you got to haul them off, that obviously is going to cost more. And there's one thing I want to mention about leaf cleanup jobs, and this goes for other jobs too. Like, I would include hedge trimming in this. There's some things like leaf cleanup and hedge trimming that homeowners typically do not want to do. So you need to make it profitable, especially, like I said, I'm trying to differentiate between the guy who just lets you keep going on his yard on the regular schedule versus that one time. But if it's the one-time person, and let's say that you as a business make $75 an hour, working by yourself, and if you got two people, you make $150 an hour, whatever, $75 per man hour. Well, if you're doing a leaf cleanup, to me, you don't charge $75 per man hour if it's a one-time thing. Now, you may be saying, well, Jason, I just need the money in the wintertime, my business slows down. Make your own business decisions. But same thing with like hedge trimming. These specialty services should cost more, in my opinion. So maybe you say it's $100 an hour, or more than that, whatever you can get. But you got to get to where you're efficient at doing it. And you might sort of have a explanation, probably worth explaining this to the customer on the front end. Like, hey, customer, here's our strategy of doing leaf cleanup. We blow the leaves out of the beds, and then we mulch them up. And that's what we do. And if that's what you do, that's going to be a lot faster, and they're going to go for that. But if they explain to you, no, I want every leaf removed from the property, essentially they want it bagged, hauled off, then you got to price it accordingly to that. I've shared this story in other videos. I'm going to share it again, but I did a leaf cleanup job my first year in the lawn care business. It went horrible. The leaves were stacked up. Maybe that's why I'm doing this video, but the leaves were piled up, wet, nasty, leaves everywhere. I think it took me multiple days to do it. I incredibly underbid it. Had no idea what I was getting into, and I had a bagging mower, and the leaves got, when they began to dry out, some of the leaves, I think I was clogging up the hopper on the mower, and they end up coming out on the hot muffler and catching on fire. And I panicked. I thought I was going to blow my mower up. I got some hand wipes out of the truck and went and used the hand wipes to put the fire out on the mower. Didn't blow anything up. It wasn't a big deal. Didn't even tear anything up. But it taught me a lesson. And another thing, you got a bag of mower and there's tons of leaves, just clogging up, and if they're wet, it's just a nightmare. So the mulching is, to me, the hot tip. If I was a homeowner, I would hardly blow leaves at all. To be honest with you, I would maybe blow them away from the fence, out of the flower beds. I run over and mulch them up, because I'm okay with it not looking 100% perfect, knowing that leaves are going to start falling the minute that I'm finished with the job. But again, if you're in some high-end neighborhood and they want it perfect, that's fine. Just charge accordingly. So in summary, don't hate leaf cleanups. They can be profitable. Just charge accordingly. You got to get a little bit good at estimating the job ahead of time if you're trying to price it year round. You got to gauge how many leaves are going to be. And if you get the one-time customer, charge high and make it worth your while, or don't do it at all, because oftentimes the homeowners really don't want to do it or not have the manpower to do it, and they're going to be out there raking and with plastic bags and tarps and stuff. So you got the manpower, make it worth your while. Thanks for watching the video. I'm going to finish blowing these leaves. It's going to be much more of the same, but hopefully some of these tips have helped you knowing how to go about a leaf cleanup strategy and pricing and things like that. So you got some options. Don't underbid it. Make sure that you understand what you're getting into before you get started, so that you don't grossly underbid something and have deep regrets about it. Appreciate you watching the video. If you're in the lawn care business, go over to lawncarelife.com. There's some resources available for you there, including the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, which was just recently launched. And I've got 20 spots available March 2021. I'm gonna try to do this twice a year, where we teach people how to start a weed control and fertilization business. Check it all out, lawncarelife.com. Talk to you later. Bye.